Hi guys. Today I'd like to do a bit of a spotlight video on two plants that are similar. This one here is my giant monster oncidium, no ID, but I do believe that I found an ID for it. This one smells amazing. The flowers are super cute and yellow and waxy. And this one is pretty old now, and I have a lot of growth on it. So this particular oncidium has been growing like a weed, and because of that, I had two spikes. This is the second spike, and it's starting to fade. Its blooms are starting to fade. Now I have 3 more spikes on this thing. Let's look at it. Okay. We have 1 and 2. See them? See right there next to each other? There are 1, 2 spikes right there. And then 1 more spike right here. You know, I like having big plants, but it comes a point when you're like, oh, how big of a pot can I put it in, you know? This one's also in conventional orchid medium. Right in here. Actually, it's not totally conventional. It's kind of a, I think it's a cocoa and perlite mix. I want to switch it over to semi-hydro, but I haven't done it yet. Probably should. Maybe after all of its spikes are done. Growing these guys has been pretty easy. They're not picky about temperature, they're not picky about light. So growing these plants, I don't find them to be that picky. Give them a good amount of light. An east-facing window for me works really well. I've gotten this one to bloom in an east-facing window. Although the first 2 spikes on this and this spike developed under lights, under my LED grow lights. I water them whenever, fertilize them whenever you can think about it. Really an easy plant. They're not picky about, like I said, they're not picky about temperature, they're not picky about light. The more light the better. Although, I've noticed that with, this is a Beallara, okay? Let's talk about the Beallara. Beallaras are very closely related to oncidiums. A Beallara is a complex hybrid of many different oncidium type orchids. There is a brassia in it, there's oncidiums in this plant, in its lineage, there's Miltoniopsis in its lineage, there's just to name a few. So there's a lot. This plant is a very complex hybrid, and because of that, it is so far removed from its wild relatives that I find them to be extremely easy to keep. In fact, they like lower light than normal oncidiums. I find that if they get too much light, they'll start to purple. Their leaves will start to get like a purpling color. They are unruly in their growth habits, sending out roots at the top. And they also kind of tend to climb out of the pot as they grow. They're an extremely hardy plant. Talk about hybrid vigor. My Howard's Dream Beallara, which almost died, has come back and is doing really well. So I hope maybe in a few years it'll bloom for me. But it's coming back from death. So this one never did had any major health issues like my other one. So as you can see, this bulb here has matured, and now I have a spike. Usually right before a bulb matures, like this one I was hoping I'd get a spike out of it. I haven't. I don't know why. Actually, I think I might know why. I moved this plant when it was in spike but not in bud. I moved it out from under the lights and put it in my east facing window. And I think maybe if I had left it under the lights, this bulb would have produced a spike. But I didn't. And I'm still hoping. Still hoping it will surprise me. It could. It could. As for watering, water just like you would any other orchid. I think because they do have Melatoniopsis in them, in their lineage, and some oncidiums, they're intermediate grower, so they're not a warm grower, but they can handle some heat since they are such a mutt of a plant. They're big. I mean, look at how big this plant is. I mean, seriously. It's a big plant. I mean, from here to here, it's almost 2 feet. Yeah. And the flowers themselves are like as big as my hand. So, you gotta have room for them. Fragrance. Oncidiums smell good. That one smells sweet, almost like honeysuckle. Beallaras tend to not smell that great. Or they smell spicy. Like pepper almost. Or like nothing. Yeah, but it's a really easy plant to grow, and if you have room for them, get them. Oncidiums, if kept as big specimen plants, I have 3 more spikes. So this guy's going to be in bloom like all summer, basically, which is pretty cool. Maybe once this plant gets bigger, it will be in bloom more often as well. But again, this one took a year to rebloom. This one takes about 6 months to rebloom. So, oncidiums are pretty fast growing for me once they get growing, once they get to be big sized. So you know, don't give these guys too much light. Keep the temperatures under 90 degrees and above 45. Lighting, they don't care. Watering, yeah, water them, but just like you would any other orchid. And they will reward you with their beautiful blooms. And look at those. So pretty. Kind of like the white. It's very elegant. So, thanks for watching, and happy growing.